Let's move on to the outfield. And Nolan Jones just had a great season, a breakout season with the Rockies. Hit 297 with 20 homers, 20 steals, a 931 OPS in just 106 games. He was one of 19 players to go 2020. And if you project that, if you prorate that over 150 games, 28 homers, 28 steals for Nolan Jones, who did some great things here, Chris. He showed off that great eye that we saw in the minors. He still did strike out quite a bit, but he hit the ball hard. He was very good against lefties. He was good on the road, which was surprising to me as well. He did have a bad July, and then he bounced back too. Yep. I like young players that kind of face adversity, and then they bounce back, and we saw that from Nolan Jones. The ADP since December 1st, 57 as the 15th outfielder off the board. What are your thoughts on Nolan Jones?
So there are a couple places to start, right? One is just he's probably not a 300 hitter. You know, like that's just, he had a 401 BABIP, even playing half your games at Coors Field. You can't expect a 400 BABIP. Todd Helton didn't put up 400 BABIPs. Larry Walker wasn't doing that consistently. Probably. I'm going off the top of my head. Maybe they did. Either way, those are two guys who are going to be in the Hall of Fame. Nolan Jones likely, go out on a limb, likely not going to be a Hall of Famer. So you probably can't expect that kind of production. And you look at the expected batting average, 249. Now, playing half your games at Coors Field, you can definitely expect better than the expected stats. That's just the way that's going to work. But there's going to be some regression with the batting average, especially when you're talking about a guy who struck out 30% of the time. So you start there. He's not going to replicate that. Is he likely to replicate 28 stolen bases? Or the 28 stolen base pace? It's possible, but again, it's not likely. He stole 19 bases in 193 games at AAA. It's just probably not going to be a 30-30 guy, maybe a 30-15 guy. That might be possible. So you have to account for some level of regression, but this price might already be accounting for that level of regression, right? Like if he hits 250 with 25 homers and 15 stolen bases, okay, he's probably not going to be the number 15 outfielder. He's probably not going to be worth a 6th round pick, but you're probably not too upset about that outcome. And it's entirely possible he hits 280. So this is one that I haven't given it quite enough thought yet. Like you said earlier, we're still in the process of doing our rankings. I'm early in the process of doing our rankings. Those will be up on cbssports.com in a couple of weeks. He gives me indigestion when I think about him because this is one of those big hit, big miss guys. The thing about it, though, is because of Coors Field, the miss might not be that big. You know, there's still, this was what I was talking about when Nolan Jones got called up. And, you know, he was a former top prospect who the Guardians just kind of gave up on. You know, they just kind of got tired of trying to wait for him. And I think it's a situation where because of where he landed, there might just be a high enough floor that it's worth whatever kind of risk that price entails.
And the Guardians have kind of had this issue for a while now where they're giving up on hitters too early and they're going to different places and they're working out. You know, Nolan Jones, I believe they traded away Junior Caminero to Tampa Bay in the Yandy Diaz trade back in the day, whatever. So they have had some issues, the Guardians have, but Nolan Jones, look, I think there's a lot to like. I love the fact that as a lefty, he hit lefties well. There are like the plate discipline for sure. The zone contact is not good. The strikeouts, I think, are going to be there for sure. But Steamer projects for a 348 BABIP and a 265 batting average. I think that's very fair. And I think given his quality of contact in that ballpark, 25 to 30 home runs, 20 steals, he's 78th percentile in sprint speed. He is a fun player. Scott has kind of talked me into it too because Scott is big on Nolan Jones. He is a huge fan, but I'll save that for when you guys are back around together on the podcast. But yeah, lots to like with Nolan Jones. The ADP since December 1st, 57, the 15th outfielder off the board, going 2 picks after Cody Bellinger, still a free agent, 16 picks ahead of Mike Trout. Does that surprise you, Chris, the fact that Mike Trout is down at like 73 in ADP early on?
I think it's a testament to Mike Trout's greatness that it took this long for him to fall this far.
Yeah.
Because you look at like Giancarlo Stanton back in 2017, and he was below this. You know, I think that was the year he won the MVP, right? he had fallen like into the 100 range because of injuries. And so the fact that we were still giving Mike Trout, first or second round value, despite all the time he'd missed. I mean, look, I'm going to draft Mike Trout when he's in the 70s. I'm probably going to do that. But yeah, it makes sense.